Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Kingdom Deluxe class Shadow Panther. Now this particular figure is in fact a direct repaint of Cheetor, albeit with a different head sculpt, and what's not to love about a black repaint? Honestly, I was actually really excited to pick this guy up as I think the head sculpt is fantastic and the colorization too is really well done. And not to mention that Shadow Panther himself is actually a very interesting character. He's a Predacon spy who's specifically designed to actually take the form of Cheetor in order to spy on the Maximals and report back to the Predacons, and not to mention that he can in fact actually slice and dice some of those Maximals as well. Now this guy does come packed in a very short wave with Kingdom Waspinator, so it's essentially just these two figures for wave 4. I have heard rumours that the remainder of wave 4, so Pipes and Slammer, will in fact be spread across wave 5, but that is yet to be seen. But nevertheless, taking a look here at Shadow Panther, for those of you who own the Kingdom Cheetor, you'll know exactly what to expect with this guy. The moulding is exactly the same besides the head sculpt, so the body's exactly the same, but that is essentially who this character is. He is supposed to just essentially be a black version of Cheetor, and I will be honest and say that comparing him to Cheetor, I definitely love this guy. I think the way he's turned out is super nice. Now, of course, to start off firstly, we'll take a look at that fantastic looking mutant mask head sculpt. Now, I was actually really glad to see that they went with this look when in comparison to just giving us a black Cheetor head, as it just makes this mold slightly more original, and I always love when they give us these mutant faces. I think they look super awesome. You can see here that in regards to the metallic silver use, this looks fantastic. We've got these massive bulbous black eyes protruding out from the sides. You can see some really nice angular detailing going on here for the top of the crest, and we can also pick out what appear to be teeth. Now sadly they didn't go the extra mile to actually make this reversible like on the original 90s toy, and that would have been excellent if you could have in fact actually flipped this up to reveal a black Cheetor sculpt. That would have been fantastic. But nevertheless, in regards to an actual mutant sculpt itself, I think it looks really impressive. Definitely fantastic. You can even see turning here to the side, we've got some nice yellow paint going on, and then as we turn here to the body, I think the color of cast black they've used is just so awesome. It looks very premium, not cheap at all, and actually looks fantastic. It complements the fur texture details super nicely, and much like when I took a look at that shattered glass Jetfire, you really are able to appreciate some of the details that perhaps may have been washed out with the yellow color scheme that we actually got with Cheetor. You can see here we've got some yellow colorization going on here for the shoulders. If we actually bring these forwards, it does reveal some awesome disc detailing here for these shoulder sections, which looks fantastic. And moving our attention to the forearms, you can see picked out in a very nice metallic silver, as well as the Predacon insignia slap bang there, looking super impressive. As we just flip to this side, once again more metallic silver paint. You can see some nice silver going on here for this lower skirt region, and then as we just take a look towards the lower region of the figure, exactly the same as Cheetor, just cast in black, as well as some fantastic metallic silver highlights. It would have been great if they could have once again taken the engineering from Kingdom Tigatron in order to try and slightly tidy up the shins, but regardless, for a deluxe class, I definitely don't think that it's too bad at all. And then as we turn our attention here to the back, of course you've got the Panther legs just stored there, which is indeed accurate to how the toy and the show did turn out. So overall, in regards to a repaint as well as slight retool, honestly, I cannot fault this at all. I think they've done a very impressive job. If I was nitpicking, I would have loved to have actually gotten the reversible faceplate where you could have had literally the black Cheetor sculpt, and then of course this mutant mask, but other than that, fantastic looking head sculpt. Now in regards to accessories, something else I would have liked to have seen would have been a gut gun, but as it stands, we merely do just get the same tail whip that came with Cheetor. You can see completely cast in black plastic, albeit with some very nice metallic silver here for this almost axed bladed section. This looks super impressive. You can even see the silver does bleed down to this low section, which has actually been detailed and sculpted very nicely. And if we just set this off to the side so that we can very quickly go over the articulation, considering now we have got a brand new sculpt, the head can look up to a fantastic degree, so you can see that is an excellent range of motion. It can look down, of course, it can rotate left to right. We do in fact get faux butterfly joint due to transformation, so that really does allow to get him into some of those more dynamic poses. The arms can rotate forwards and backwards, out to the sides, full rotation there at the bicep, way past 90-degree bend, only on a single joint, full wrist rotation, as well as a full waist rotation. For whatever reason, this skirt panel can still lift up if you wanted, and the legs can kick forwards that far, back to that far, out to the sides, rotation here at the thigh, as well as a 90-degree bend there at the knee, and finally the foot can pivot forwards and backwards, as well as rock side to side. So overall, in regards to articulation, a fantastic figure. Honestly, super well done. I do find that in some ways this mold could have been a little better. There are some proportion issues going on here for the torso, and we still have got that dreadful peg of doom where the actual Panther head is concerned, but we'll touch base more with that when we go through transformation. But overall, a very nice looking deluxe figure, and honestly is a Predacon I'm actually really glad to add to the collection. Now in terms of some comparisons, here we have Shadow Panther compared next to his wave mate Waspinator, review already live over on the channel, so be sure to check that out. Fantastic looking figures, honestly. I think they pair very, very nicely with each other. But as we move on to some of the other mold-mate comparisons, here we have Shadow Panther as well as Cheetor. Exact same molding, is merely just the heads which differ. Just to bring a closer look, you can see here that I do kind of wish we could have also gotten this sculpt in black. As mentioned beforehand, a reversible faceplate would have been excellent, considering especially Hasbro have more than earned the money off this mold with the Netflix repaint and the original version. So to actually give us a flippable face, I don't think would have cost too much, but really nice looking repaints. The stark difference in color definitely does help to set them apart. And then of course, just considering that I was able to pick one up, here we have Shadow Panther compared next to Covert Agent Ravage. So you can definitely see that Ravage is a little bigger, but in terms of the color of black plastic used, I'd say that it's near enough a spot on match, especially as we take a look here towards the legs, considering they use the same sculpt. They literally look identical, so definitely glad to see that color used here on Shadow Panther, considering that I absolutely love the way it turned out here for our Covert Agent Ravage. But both very interesting characters, honestly. Covert Agent Ravage was fantastic, and Shadow Panther 2 is also very, very interesting. So now to very quickly go over the transformation. To begin with, you're just going to want to take this awesome mutant face and just rotate it here all the way around. We can then just collapse that into that space just like so. You'll then want to take these torso pieces and just flick them here out to the sides. And sadly, the same issue that I had with Cheetah still retains here with Shadow Panther, in the sense that if you actually take this head, 9 times out of 10 you're going to snap the peg, and that's exactly what happened upon the second time of actually transforming this figure. And to be fair, the actual plastic around the neck feels incredibly cheap and flimsy, so will no doubt actually crack over time itself, which is very, very unfortunate. It's just the pressure it takes to actually wedge that upper jaw into this tab puts a lot of pressure on this region, and I just think in terms of a design, it's definitely flawed. But nevertheless, you're just going to want to take this here, shift this up, and essentially rest that there into place. If the tab sadly snapped off, we can then close the jaw. You'll then want to come here to these arms, rotate at the bicep, take these wrists and just rotate outwards. Of course, repeat the same process here for this side, so rotate and then just connect the two halves together. So just snap that in there until it does actually click into place. We can then take these, snap them there along the sides. We can then take this, overlap this here, peg that into place, pull these arms forwards, and then for some finishing touches, essentially just fold the feet into the backs of the legs, and then just angle this down, fold that out, come here to this side and repeat the exact same process. Angle that out, fold this section down, and bring back in the tail whip or the tail axe and just snap that there into the back. And there you've got Shadow Panther fully transformed up into, of course, the Panther alt mode. Actually looking pretty decent, if I will be honest. I think the color of black looks so awesome. Now sadly, no new retooling. It would have been great if they could have taken some of the inspiration from the Covert Agent Ravage and maybe tweaked a few things. If we could have actually gotten an articulated beast head, that would have been fantastic. But as it stands, it is essentially just a Cheetah repaint. You can see here, in regards to detail, very, very nice looking face sculpt. Sadly, the irises have not been painted, but I actually don't think that detracts too badly, and it probably would have looked very unusual in bot mode. You can see some nice sculpt work going on here for the ears. You can in fact actually drop the jaw down. Sadly, no tongue detailing, which is a shame, no teeth detailing, so it has merely just been cast out of black plastic, but you can still see the sculpt there. As we take a look here to the underside where the belly is, I think the fur all looks really, really impressive. No idea as to why they've gone with yellow joints here. I think it looks very unsightly here for the Panther mode. If they were cast in black plastic, it would have made the overall silhouette look a lot more cohesive, but as it stands, you can see some of the yellow joints sticking out here from the top, here at the actual shoulders, as well as some of the knee joints here at the back, which is slightly unfortunate. But you can see here from a side perspective, considering that this is formed out of both the torso as well as the arms, I think it comes together pretty nicely. You can once again see some very nice texture detail going on for the thighs, as well as the lower section of the legs, as well as of course that towel. And getting down to articulation, we do get a hinge joint here at the jaw, rotation at the actual shoulder, as well as a hinge joint out to the sides, hinge joint here at the knee, rotation at the foot, and the same also applies here to these back ones. And sadly, the tail is in fact fixed into place. So with all that being said, let's bring both Cheetor and Covert Agent Ravage out for a comparison to really show some of these cats in their full glory. So here we have both Shadow Panther and Cheetor. Here in beast mode, they're identical. There are no differences at all in regards to the molding. It is merely just the differences in paint. And once again, much like I mentioned in bot mode, I think the stark difference in color really does help to set these apart. I think it looks fantastic. And of course, very quickly comparing him here next to Covert Agent Ravage, who I believe was supposed to be a Jaguar, you can see a very, very nice pairing. I think the color of black just looks so awesome, but it would have been so fantastic to have gotten some very similar engineering to what we've actually got going on here for the head sculpt of Covert Agent Ravage, as if you were actually able to swivel or articulate that, it would have looked fantastic. But you can see in regards to the color of plastic, it is exactly the same. You can see as we actually take a look at some of the legs, they are identical in terms of sculpt as well as colorization, and the same also applies here for the back legs. But overall, very, very impressive figures. I absolutely love how this darker repaint has turned out. So some final thoughts for this Transformers Kingdom Deluxe Class Shadow Panther. Overall, I think in regards to the repaints, this is actually a very well done figure. It does exactly what it has to do, and that is essentially just be a repaint of Cheetor. I really do like that they went the extra mile to retool the head whilst it's not flippable to reveal an unmasked version of the mutant face. I still think that for the most part it's very nicely done. Great attention to detail, really nice sculpt work, and metallic silver just looks fantastic. I think the overall colorization in bot mode is near enough spot on to what we actually saw from the animation, and not to mention that the character himself I think is one of the most interesting ones ever to grace Beast Wars. Honestly, Shadow Panther, who's a Predacon spy designed to spy on the Maximals, is just a really cool concept in my opinion, and I love how he actually tried to take on the look of Cheetor, albeit in a black color scheme. I think the transformation is pretty decent. The mold in itself is average. It's not the best, but it's definitely not the worst. There are of course some proportion issues going on for bot mode. I'm still not a massive fan of some of those glaring QC issues that we've got going on with the tabs, but that's neither here or there. You guys know exactly what to expect with this if you've got Cheetor. And in regards to the actual Panther mode, whilst the mold has not been altered at all, I still do think that it looks pretty nice, especially when comparing it to both Cheetor and Covert Agent Ravage. So with all that being said, if you're into repaints, you're out to pick up all of the Beast Wars characters, then this guy's a must-have. But for those of you who are out to pick up some of the original molds, such as Tigatron, Waspinator, and Slammer, then I definitely think those guys are more than likely going to be a higher priority, as I do think that Shadow Panther may in fact be shelf-warming for quite some time, considering that's what appeared to be the case with Cheetor. I thank you all for watching. I'd love to know down in the comment section below on what you guys think of both the review as well as the figure, and until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.